welcome to Family. We've got your back. Today, we have been at our son's Ultimate Frisbee State Tournament, and I had sunscreen on, and I'm the only one that got sunburned out of everybody there. Sugar.
Yep.
So, so that's why sunburn face and not sunburn face.
No.
Yeah. He didn't even wear.
I wore a hat.
You wore a hat. That's why you're okay. But yeah, I'm the only one that I had like lots of sunscreen on. And
I probably didn't need to wear the hat though.
No, but it was
cloudy.
So cloudy and windy.
Yeah.
It was so windy. It said it was going to be a beautiful day, and it was not.
There's the lake effect. We're not too far from the lake.
Anyway, it was so windy, like blew things across the field windy.
Yeah.
And they would throw the frisbee and the wind would catch it and it would like be going one direction and then like take a right turn almost and just go in a totally different direction. And it was like subject to the winds.
It was.
And you know, you have it throw a good throw and it's suddenly out of bounds.
Well, yeah, if you let the wind catch it, right?
Yeah.
Because so the key to the whole game was keep it nice and low. The wind can't catch it. So
Short throws.
Darts.
Yeah.
Short darts the whole day, basically.
And
there were a couple lulls where some long passes could be thrown, but
yeah, for the most part, it was the wind just took it. And
this is not just an editorial, though.
No, there's a
Frisbee.
purpose.
Yeah.
Hey, son, will you grab me my phone and bring it to me?
They're not listening.
Oh, my kids aren't listening.
Where is it?
I don't know. Trent's going to go get my phone while I introduce the subject. But anyway, so I had been doing research all week, and then today I like completely forgot what our topic was. And I'm like, what? What are we talking about? Like, I can't remember what we're supposed to be talking about for the podcast today. So I asked the parents. I was like, what should we talk about in our podcast? You know, we do a podcast about family. What should we do? And they're like, you do? That's really awesome. I want to hear about this or this or this. And one dad said, talk about the winds of change. And I'm like, you mean like going with the flow? Like, and he's like, no, you got to not just be blown wherever. Because then the goal doesn't count. Like you can't reach the goal. You're out of bounds and you don't reach your goal. I'm like, oh, that is so clever. What a clever analogy for today. Because, oh, there's my phone. It's somewhere. Oh, it's in my purse right there. So yeah, we're kind of a thinker today. I know we are so exhausted from being outside in this windy, sunny for me day that our brains are just not on it. But anyway, so the reason I needed my phone is because I
have some definitions on
have some definitions. We looked it up so that we could be prepared. For today and have our definition. So our definition this week is standard. So that if you do not have a standard but are blown wherever, you don't have a goal, an example, you're just going to end up randomly and not what you actually want to be.
Yeah, in the other games field.
Yeah, you'll be on someone else's field and you're not where you want to be and your efforts won't count and won't matter because it, like in Alice in Wonderland where he says, which road should I go?
Depends on where you want to go.
If you don't have a goal in mind, then it doesn't matter what road you take, right?
Yeah.
So standard, the definition of standard means having recognized and permanent value. Or it could be a conspicuous object such as a banner formerly carried at the top of a pole and used to mark a rallying point, especially in battle, or to serve as an emblem. So like, this is what you're going to rally around, right?
To the king, to the king.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then another one that applied, another definition that applied was something established by authority, custom, or general consent as a model or example. And then I looked up in an 1800s dictionary so we could have some historical context for the word. And it was similar to the last one, except it said a respectable opinion instead of just the general opinion, right?
Yeah.
What did it say exactly? It said, that which is established as a rule or model by the authority of public opinion or by respectable opinions. So it's not just like the unwashed masses.
But don't be like that, though, because the unwashed masses have good opinions, too.
Well, no, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
I
what
do.
their point was is like highly educated, well-informed people
Right.
who make make a decision and come to agree upon a certain standard,
Right.
or value, or example, or what's another word for standard?
You've given lots of good words.
Anyway, yeah. So anyway, so that was the definition, and I found it really interesting that it was like, it's like a well thought out example of what something should be.
Well,
and a lot of people say the word should shouldn't be a word, like you should on yourself or whatever is the term. Don't should on yourself. And I'm like, no, there's some shoulds and should nots in this world.
And should nots.
Otherwise you end up out of bounds.
Yeah, thrown wherever you end is good.
Yeah, and you don't reach your goal. Right?
Yeah.
So another real life example that we were thinking about with regards to not being blown around but having a goal and example of what you want to become and be like is standardized testing. Because he's a teacher,
Yeah.
he has to. Now, these standardized tests don't count toward their grade, so a lot of kids don't even care or try. They just randomly answer so they can be done, right?
Yeah.
So it's obviously not a good evaluation of what they know because there's no consequences to taking the test, right?
Right.
But not the ratios, the statistics came back from the kids taking the test, and the honors kids versus the kids in just the regular math
Yeah.
was astronomically different.
Completely, yeah.
91% of his honors kids
We're
successfully met the
proficient.
standard.
Yeah. Yep.
Because in standards-based grading, you have to be able to consistently meet the standard and able to get a 4. A 3 is you can meet the standard.
That's
like
still meeting
you
the
are
standard.
able
Yep.
to meet the standard. A 2 means you can with help.
Yeah.
And a 1 means you can't do it.
You can't, yeah.
Even with help.
Even
You
with
can't-
help,
you
then
do
it
not
still
understand.
is completely foreign to you. Yeah.
And a 0 means no effort at all.
Yeah. Maybe you didn't take the test.
Didn't even do it. Like, right? So
Or-
you can get a 0. I didn't know that. That's an option, is to get a 0. But 3 and 4 passes, and 91% of his honors kids passed the test, are able to
Yep.
are proficient in the standard.
Yep.
Whereas, was it 32% of his regular classes were able to meet the standard?
I don't think it was that high.
31?
Yeah, I don't know.
50% of them got 1s.
Yeah.
Because in the standardized test, there were no 0s. And there would have been more 0s had that been an option.
Well, and the striking thing is that the standard that is being held for the most part is
Can you do the skill?
Is an excellence kind of thing, more than
If you understand how to do the math problem, then you pass.
Well, and it's the determination to be excellent. Bill and Ted. No.
Okay.
So the only thing that separates my honors kids from regular kids, well, one of the main metrics is their desire to do well.
Right.
They're driven to do well, and so they try to their best in everything they do. Well, maybe not everything, but at least in that.
They want to learn and succeed.
And they get good grades in all of their classes, not just math. They're not just talented mathematicians. They are, but that's because they work hard and they ask the right questions, and so their standard is this learning. I think their standard is learning. Yes, their
standard is learning.
And so they learn in every content, and they do well in every content.
Yeah. Yeah, and with these standard-based grading, it's like if you make an effort, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right? It's not, well, I just can't do math. I don't get it. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's 8th grade math.
Well,
almost everybody can do 8th grade math, right? It's not like this foreign concept that's like theoretical calculus or whatever. It's like
basic geometry.
It's basic math.
Basic
that
math,
you
basic
need
geometry.
For your life, right? It's stunning that more than 50% of these kids can't do basic math.
Well, and
because they don't care.
Well, and we looked at the statistics for the whole state too, and it was similar.
Yeah. It's not just his classes, it's the whole state.
It's really interesting that we have enough people that just don't care enough to try their very best.
Yeah. And the 50% was with the combined with the honors. Like
right.
His honors class, it was 91% passed. So, 9% didn't pass. Whereas the other kids, they brought down the average.
Yep.
Because
there were
only
so
like
many of them.
30% passed. So like 63% or something like that. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was like 63% failed. And so his whole average between all his students was 50%, which was above state average, which for us, that is shocking. Because my graduating high school class, most of them had honors of some sort. Like 250 out of the 350 of my graduating class or something like that were on the honor roll. Right? And now it's like, if you're on the honor roll, it's surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah? Whereas if you weren't on the honor roll, it was not the norm, right? And so just the lowering of
the standards.
Of the standard.
Yep.
Personal standards, not like this is achievable standard, but your personal standard. That has just, kids don't care anymore.
Yeah, and once again, this is not an editorial on anything specific like math in this case.
No, it's more just...
But it is, there's just we need to make sure that our families are aspiring to be their best selves.
Yeah, because if they're like, well, we'll just let the kids be in charge, or we don't need to be disciplined in doing anything, because
if you don't do well on it, that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. We still love you.
That's kind of true, but you're still, not overall.
Yeah, and right? I mean, we're not saying don't tell your kids you don't love them if they don't pass.
No.
Or they don't do their chores or whatever.
But
that's not what we're saying.
Be encouraging to be their best selves.
Yeah,
it's like you gotta. You
can
have do hard things.
Goal.
You gotta build some resiliency and do those things that will help you in the future to do what you truly do want to do.
Yeah, I mean, our world is headed for disaster because there is zero effort to become better in so many of the rising generation. And we're like, that terrifies me.
Well, and yeah, you can Google it. You can Google it. right?
Yeah, Google it. You don't have to know everything.
You don't have to know anything. You can Google it. But the ability to think and persevere when something is not Googleable, or Google will tell you 50 different things.
Yeah.
You got to
There's
be able
no
to
right
weed
answer.
through. You got to weed through the right content and the wrong content and make up your mind about which thing you're going to do.
Yeah.
And so you
make a
really
choice
have
and
to,
stick to it.
You have to have good reasoning skills because of the abundance of. So you got to have a good standard there.
Yeah, and so we're basically what we're saying is, don't be wishy-washy, and don't like try to be popular by having like no opinion. Stand for something.
Stand for something.
Right? Like and defend that and work hard for it and rally round the banner, rally round the standard and support it and protect it and work for it, because if you don't, then you'll have nothing in the end.
And when you do fight for some specific standard, whatever that may be, then if you have some hardships, good, fight for it.
Yeah, it'll teach you to be resilient.
You will gain some awesome skills, whatever it is, whatever your standard is. You can achieve it.
Yeah, even in defeat, you can learn something. And we're not talking like physical fist fight. We're talking like
unless you want to be a fighter.
We're talking about like push against the wind, basically the resistance, and become stronger. We're talking about like fight for right. We're talking about push forward even though it's hard.
I still remember I have some students that are English language learners, and so I can hardly communicate with them. I can show them and work stuff, whatever, but some of them, they have Google Translate open so that if I say something, it's translated into their native tongue, and then they work super, super hard some of the time, and it's like, and it's a major accomplishment when they can get the skill having had to fight through it.
Right? And then there's other English language learners that just look at their paper and copy.
Yeah. And
did they learn anything?
They learned nothing. They didn't fight through their challenge.
Yeah, they just did the easy thing.
Yeah.
So we're saying avoid the easy way, avoid and push back.
Yep.
Let the resistance make you stronger.
Yes.
Become resilient, work hard, and stand for something. And you decide what you're going to stand for. So that's the activity for today, is decide on a standard and stand up for it and fight for it. Okay.
Yes.
All right. See you next week and enjoy.
Happy Mother's Day to all your mothers.
Oh, yes. That's what I was going to say. And my mind went like, Happy Mother's Day to everybody. So, especially to my mother, Barbara, and his mother, Bonnie.
Yay.
So we love you very much, and thank you for setting the standard of how wonderful mothers can be for us.
Indeed.
All right.
You too, Mom.
Thanks, son. Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.